Hello my friends! Welcome to Lindy's Magpie Reads. I'm Lindy and I have got 6 books to tell you about today. 3 of them are translated from Japanese. I've got a couple of audiobooks plus a beautiful children's picture book. And I'm going to get right to it. Look Back is by Tatsuki Fujimoto and it's translated by Amanda Haley. It's a novel about friendship between 2 girls. It starts when they're in grade 4 and both of them are artists. Kiyomoto is a much better artist than Fujino, and she actually inspires Fujino to work really hard and get lots of practice so that she becomes a better artist. Over the years, they spend a lot of time drawing together, and I really love the many wordless panels, sometimes entire wordless pages in this book, showing these 2 girls side by side, getting older, drawing, and eventually collaborating on successful manga series as they get into their later teens and early 20s. So what adds attention to this story is that there's an unequal power dynamic between the 2 girls, and then in addition there's a tragedy that happens. Part of why I love the graphic novel format, or manga in this case, it's the Japanese word for comics, is looking for visual clues. And in this book there's only one time where you see somebody looking back over her shoulder, and it's quite a turning point in this book. If you've read it, you know what I mean. But when I was looking at reviews for Looking Back, it was compared to the next book that I'm going to tell you about, which is Downfall by Inio Asano. The flap folds out. You can see the full picture there. Isn't that great? I did not know about this one-shot manga. I was familiar already with Inio Asano. I could actually say he's my favorite mangaka, artist from Japan, because I've read Solanin and Goodnight Pun Pun, and my absolute favorite graphic novel series, it's still ongoing, Dead Dead Demons DD Destruction, which is very cool, and I think that he's kind of referring to it in here. Actually, Goodnight Pun Pun is in here as well, just in altered form, as this is an autobiographical novel about a manga artist who is severely depressed and going downhill. This is quite a bleak, gritty story. His marriage is falling apart. He's feeling like the manga business, all the commercialism has wrecked his enjoyment, and he now hates manga, and he's turning to sex workers who he gets them to dress up as schoolgirls so they look like his adoring fans that he hears from all the time. And his most recent series has finished, and now he can't come up with another idea. So yeah, it's definitely the ugly side. There's attempted rape in here, not pleasant. His art is impeccable, and I think maybe having paper over digital photos, to get that effect. I'm not exactly sure, but whatever it is, I really, really like his art. And even though the central character is not at all likable, I could still understand his unhappiness, his feeling of alienation, his lashing out at everybody. And I really liked the emotions in this novel. I forgot to say the translator for this is Jocelyne Allen. And the third Japanese translation that I read is Yoko Tawada's Scattered All Over the Earth. It's translated by Margaret Mitsutani. So playful and yet profound. Now, this is the first of a projected trilogy, according to the back cover. I really, really like her voice, her style of writing. I've previously read Memoirs of a Polar Bear and The Emissary. I was delighted with this one too, entirely charmed. There are 6 voices, kind of a rotating cast of characters. They come from various parts around the world, South Asia, Japan, Greenland, and Europe. And so these people form an unlikely band of friends, and they're traveling around Europe for reasons. But it's also really a book about ideas about language and national identity, being a misfit in your home country, about assumptions made based on stereotypes, native versus non-native speakers of a language, power dynamics caused by somebody having financial power over somebody else. Oh, there's just so much in here. And I want to give you just a little taste of the writing. If I come across a word I can't get out of my head while I'm reading and end up taking it into the bedroom with me, it will sometimes flit around the room all night like a mosquito, keeping me awake. For instance, a while ago the name Kamchatka made such a fuss, I didn't get to sleep until dawn. That's why I've made the bedroom off limit to all printed matter, even magazines. Because I have had trouble with insomnia lately. Here's another sleeping passage. I can't sleep. I've tried meditating or taking a bath or sitting on the sofa listening to music before I go to bed, but I'm still wide awake, as if there's a chandelier on in my head even after I turn off the light. And here's another interesting idea. Even our brains change sex every second. Depending on the book we're reading, we become men or women. Curious idea. And here comes Frida. Oh, kitty. Kitty. So next up is a middle grade audiobook, Moonflower by Kacen Callender. Kacen is non-binary, originally from St. Thomas and now lives in the US. Their main character, Moon, in Moonflower, seems pretty much the same, based on Kacen Callender's life. It's about a 12-year-old black, non-binary, non-verbal child who is very depressed and suicidal and escapes via astral travel every night into the spirit world, where they have adventures and guardians help them, and in a very gentle way they learn to love themselves and feel like being a misfit is okay, I guess. When I was a teenager, I had the Desiderata in a poster up on my wall. And this is a line from the book. You are a part of the universe itself. You, the universe, wanted to have a life as a child named Moon. You chose to come here. You decided to live. That song got stuck in my head with this book. I would say that for readers who enjoyed Akwaeke Emezi's Pet, they probably would like this as well. Pet is a more ferocious, maybe self-righteous, and this Moonflower is more gentle. I felt like Moonflower, actually, and Pet as well, are both books that I might have appreciated more when I was younger, and these books are for a younger audience, so I think that's fine. Next up, Craftfulness, subtitled Mend Yourself by Making Things. It's got 2 British authors, Rosemary Davidson and Arzu Tahsin. The audiobook is read by Joan Walker. It's not a very long book, about 4 hours in audio. And it was a good reminder to me about why I love making things with my hands. And they bring up the science as well, how it helps us to build resilience to mental illness, such as depression. An example is the research that Kelly Lambert has done into what she describes as the effort-driven reward circuit. Physical labor, especially movements done with your hands, makes you feel better. During the pandemic, this was something that I have really relied upon. I will link a blog post that I did back in 2020 about designing a sweater and how that was helping my mental health. One of the crafts that the author Arzu Tahsin enjoys is bookbinding, and that is something that I started doing during the pandemic as well. I can show you a little book that I created. I decided to make dye from every part of the floral arrangement after the flowers were all dried up. So with the bits that were left, pine cone and some dried liatris. Here's the pine needles, liatris flowers, hypericum berries, and it ends up being an accordion book. So everything about designing this was part of the pleasure, the making pleasure. Yeah. Anyway, final book is this gorgeous picture book. It's called Maybe, a story about the endless potential in all of us. And the author is a Japanese-American Kobi Yamada, and the illustrator is Israeli Gabriella Barouch. Her art is quite magical. Okay. We're just going to move her over so you can see. Gentle colors, a story of imagination. There's a little pig on every page. There's the pig going up the stairs. Do everything with love. Follow your heart and see where it leads you. There's definitely some ties in here to Moonflower, the Kacen Callender book. Talking about sometimes you try and do something, you fall down, you fail, and that is also touched on in the Craftfulness audiobook. It's all about figuring out who you can be. What if you have talents you haven't discovered yet? Because you are here, anything is possible. That was maybe. All right. That's all I've got to tell you about today. Thank you so very much for watching. I look forward to your comments down below, and I'll be back again soon for Friday Reads because I've got a lot more books on the go. Bye for now.